about the Four Nations Face-Off, the most recent addition that the NHL did for the break. They went ahead and had four nations, United States, Canada, Sweden, and Finland, all participating. The best players of each of those teams, respectively, being on the team. Some people disagree on that, and we can even talk about that as well. But just to start off, I mean, Canada obviously took the gold with an incredible overtime win by Connor McDavid. What did you guys think about the championship game? Just to start off with, anyone can start on that.
Yeah, I think it's really special because it was a real big pass of the torch from Sid the Kid to McDavid. Even though McDavid's he's 20.
McDavid's young.
28, I want to say. Or is he 27?
I want to say
27 or 29. I don't know. I don't think he's 20. I don't know. Yeah, but regardless, I mean,
2017.
He took the torch and he got the game winner, which is I thought was really cool. Do you see how old he is?
I mean, yeah, he's 28 years old.
Right.
So 15,
You're right.
15 years right after the Golden Goal 2 from Sidney Crosby against United States again. It's kind of crazy to me just to see that. And you were saying passing the torch, Will, from Sidney Crosby to Connor McDavid. It's really cool to see those two Canadian stars get something as memorable as that playing for your nation. I mean, no one expected it to be as great of a turnout, in my opinion, as it was. I mean, you got the references to the Golden Goal during the game, and Connor McDavid, who hasn't really won anything in his professional career in the NHL, is going ahead stepping up for his nation. Anything else you'd like to say about the championship game, Will?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was electric. I mean, you could tell that Canada wanted it more, but there were some great plays on both sides. You're never gonna know what you get with some of these games because when it's the best players in the world, it can go either way. Everyone kind of heavily expected Canada to win, and some people even thought the USA roster was a bit weaker. But even when it comes to Sweden and Finland, they are becoming extremely better. There's huge names all over the place, but still not to the point that US and Canada are at. I just thought it was all over. Just great.
Sean, any thoughts on the championship game, anything like that?
All around great hockey. They were saying earlier in the tournament how it's such a fast pace comparably to normal NHL games, and that was some good hockey. Too bad about the US though. But
How about you, Caden? Any thoughts on anything like
I gotta
that?
say that was the most electric night. Yeah, decade.
Wow, of the
Going back,
That's
I mean, you go back to the
that's
2010
crazy.
Olympics. So the kid gets the goal in the gold medal game. I think that was 2010. That was 15 years ago. Of this decade, this has been the most electric thing in hockey. You can tell it. The passion, the players. They just played harder. It's the best players in the world playing. They want it. They all want to win. They all want to represent their country. This is a huge game. The biggest game of a lot of these players' careers.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of players saying this is the biggest game of their career. I mean,
Dylan
even
Larkin.
Dylan Larkin said it.
Some great quotes.
Even Dylan Larkin had amazing quotes. I mean, even Austin Matthews supposedly, reportedly, had said that it was like a Game 7 to him. And we know how the Leafs have done recently in the Game 7s. I mean, but you have like rosters that are all stacked. I mean, even these countries like Finland and Sweden, they're still getting up there. And I think that Canada definitely was top loaded. I mean, they had stars everywhere, but the United States even had like a well-rounded team. And I think the thing that surprised me the most about the tournament was coming into it, everyone had talked about how Canada had the worst goaltending in the league.
Yup, Jordan Binnington.
And Binnington stood on his head.
And I will say at the beginning of the game before we went out to watch the game, I said
you said he was washed.
I didn't say he was washed. I think he's just very inconsistent. And I mean he proved us wrong in that crazy run that St. Louis had against Boston.
Yeah.
But he stuck his neck out again. He showed that his very strong personality and hockey skills can win a game and prove people wrong once again. But I will say, back to Caden's thing, most crazy thing this decade, I might I mean, granted, it was 10 years ago, but I think I might have to say TJ Oshie and
his overtime or his shootout.
his crazy shootout might. I think that still beats it. Even it wasn't the championship game.
Nope.
But I still think that beats it. You know, it's some of these crazy things, and you can bring it to football too. Like I think one of the craziest games wasn't even a Super Bowl; it was the 13 seconds. RIP our Buffalo Bills. But I think that was at least what I thought the best game of the last at least 5 years. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that had to be at least an honorable mention for the best games.
Definitely an honorable mention. I mean, we also go back through this whole tournament. I think this tournament was a great addition to the league. I mean, I think anytime you have players playing for the nations, I mean, you grow up playing with that program. Like, I think a lot of people really take it to heart. I mean, you have kids going from World Junior Championships. You have kids going from all over on these different things. And just to see the dedication that each of them had during this time, I mean, look at the Kachuk brothers. I mean, first game, they each had 2 goals. And I know, obviously, some people don't like their personality, don't like how they play, but you can't deny that the way that they played, like, they were outstanding. And I mean, you also have Slavin, who had an incredible tournament. You have different aspects. I mean, Team USA playing for Johnny Hockey. And ironically, Will's actually wearing his jersey right now, too. But, I mean, you have, like, this bigger moment, and they even announced the World Cup of Hockey coming back, and players playing in the NA or playing in the Olympics in 2026. Like, I think these moments where it shows your nation, it's really a big thing. And I know, Caden, you're a big basketball fan as well. I mean, having those Team USA teams in the Olympics, like, how do you feel this tournament went for each individual nation?
Yeah, I mean, winning the game, winning the Super Bowl, you're gonna get amazing success. So hats off to Canada. You gotta give it to them. They showed up when it mattered. We beat them on their home turf. They beat us in Boston. It's tough, but you gotta give our hats off to Canada. And it still means a lot, though. You know, America is considered the best nation in the world, you know, and 1B. You know, I think it's a 1A, 1B. You can't say that either nation has a huge gap over the other.
It's definitely very close.
And you know, they always joke about teams, Canadian players, but it's getting to be more equal. You know, I understand. It used to be a big.
It is definitely even.
Well, so one of the biggest things I'd say like the biggest, not disappointment, but thing I want to see hopefully change, which I think will in the upcoming years, is it's unfortunate to see only the 4 nations be out there. Like, that's the one thing I liked from, what was it, 2018 or 2019? I don't know what year it was, but when they did the Team North America, Team Euro, I don't know what it was, but for an All-Star break, similar to the 4 nations, but it had all the nations because you see so many good players. You know, we're missing out some of the German players, Czechia players, Russia, of course. That's very controversial, but I think that's something that I'd like to see in the future. But obviously, it's more difficult because these are the 4 nations with, you know, where hockey has grown the most and has been the most successful, let me say, other than, like, you know, Russia. But the one thing that I really liked is, I mean, everyone knows Finland and Sweden has good hockey players. But, you know, when it was the 4 nations, everyone just thought about USA and Canada. So I think there were a lot of players that really showed pride for their country, like Steve said earlier, but, you know, even just made a big name for themselves. So, like, just on Finland alone, I mean, Armia, he got hurt early. So, I mean, he was drafted by the Buffalo Sabres, so it was you know, I have feelings, but good for him. I wish he was able to play, but Hintz, everyone knows he's a great player, but he really showed up. Laine, he wasn't able to play because of his injury, right? Was it?
Yes.
I don't think
I think he played a little bit. I could be
I can't
incorrect.
recall. I wasn't able to watch the Finland games, except for not being able to see Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. That hurt a little bit, but
I think he went. He went. Did he got some reps.
Nope, he didn't play anything.
No, did not play anything.
But it's also very tough when you're having great players like Lankinen and Saros. You know, it's tough to compete with that, especially when you're a Sabre. But someone that played very well. Mata showed up. That was kind of funny to me, but it was very interesting. Who was it? My gosh, like that.
Patrick Laine did go ahead and
did?
play. Yes.
Granlund had a very excellent performance.
Yeah. I think when you were talking about injuries specifically, I think a big thing we can also point to, which is in my opinion one of the worst things that has happened during that time, was McAvoy being escorted.
Oh, that was
and
huge for the
huge for Canada, and it was a huge loss for the USA team. I mean, it's also just a huge loss for the Bruins. Like losing a guy like McAvoy in the way that you did, where he was rushed to the hospital, like that's
struggling team.
It's an already struggling team. I mean, it just comes to ask, like, is the risk worth it? And I still think players will definitely still play about it. But I mean, like, you have that where McAvoy is a huge loss for the Bruins, and then you have teams like the Washington Capitals, who are one of the best teams right now in the NHL. They had 0 players in that